Hi YouTube, welcome back to my channel. This week I've got some more animation, like time lapse. Like last week I wished that I had recorded the roughs for the animation I was making, which is actually finished now. There's a process video off my channel, basically like just the GIFs of various different stages that of the animation stuck together, so you could kind of see like a step by step. But this week I want to make sure to screen cap the like roughs and draft stage of what I'm working on, and I wanted to like talk a bit more about that because like starting an animation is like the hardest thing, like especially when it's like a map part and you can do anything, or like it's your own thing and you can just do anything, because it's like a blank paper but like the time is blank too. So it's like an extra dimension of what's going to happen, how can I do this? So like one way I was like trying to figure out what to do was like I was like this map part is fan art for Ben 10, so I went and watched some Ben 10 and I was just drawing in my sketchbook ideas and like just doodling the characters, and I came up with some ideas and I ended up not using any of them. So when I came down to actually animate it, like what I did first was like I mapped out like the key beats of the music that I wanted things to happen on. I find like sometimes it's nice just to have that like visually laid out on the timeline. I just like did numbers, but like what was helpful was having that layer on the timeline, so you can like visually see like, oh, there's a few beats at the beginning, but then at the end there's like this cluster of 4 or 5 beats, and I think then I'm like, okay, I want like different aliens on different beats of those, that would be fun. And then this particular map, they put a link to one of their Cartoon Network's summer animation videos and for inspiration, so I went and watched that again, and they had lots of like dramatic zooms and coming towards the camera, so it's like, right, you know what, I'm gonna try that. So yeah, that's where I got the Ben falling towards the camera from, and that's difficult. I'm about halfway through the like roughs of this after I finish this video, so like most of the basic shapes are there, but I've still got to like draw Ben's face and features on all of those shots of that, and I've got to like mess about with a bit and fine tune, and like the bit where all the different aliens are turning into each other really quickly, I think it doesn't have as much like impact as it should, so I've got to like mess about with that. But yeah, that's basically what my process is. Like do like a couple of keyframes and then lots of passes of like straight ahead animation, which you can see with me working with it. Like with the rough stage, like I like to work on a much smaller like canvas, like I zoom it out quite far and use a bigger brush, because sometimes I think it helps with just like the shapes. And like if I'm doing a storyboard in my sketchbook, I will cut out like a bunch of post-it notes. I'll cut them to widescreen format and work on really tiny post-it notes, or like rule out a grid into my notebook. But I like the post-it notes better because like you can move them around and switch them up and ditch bits without having to like cross out boxes or put asterisks or anything, and then you can just glue them down when you've got the final order. So yeah, I need to do some more animation sketchbook book tours, because like the book that I did all my sketchbook storyboard even for the Smile project, I think that's really interesting to look at probably. And like the storyboards for that were heckin' cute because I used pastel colour highlighters on them, and basically it was all just like dreamy space goodness. So yeah, I'll try and dig those sketchbooks out to make a flip through of sometime. So yeah, that's basically my process. Let me know if you have any like comments or questions. Like, I'd dearly love to know if you're like, hey, this would make your process much quicker. Have you tried this? Or like, if you're having trouble, like, I'll do my best to help out. So yeah, like the map this is from is like, there's still some slots left. It's like a theme map for cartoons, except like the person running it, they set characters for different parts, which is kind of a good idea, because like, obviously if you run a cartoon map and you don't specify how many people can have how much cartoons, you will get about 6 Powerpuff Girl map parts. Not speaking from experience or anything, but they actually didn't have Ben 10 on this, so I messaged them and was like, hey, can I take one of the parts with Ben 10? And they were like, yeah, sure. Because if you don't remember the Cartoon Heroes animator project that I ran, that was like years ago now, that started. And like nearly 2 years ago, I did a multi-anime project part for that, of Ben 10 Omniverse, and like, it's still one of the most popular videos on my channel actually. It's got like 2,000 views, which is like crazy for like a 5-second video. But yeah, I wanted to like draw that again, because like I haven't really drawn any Ben 10 since then. And like for some reason it was on my mind. I can't remember why. I think people were talking about like what they would do if they rebooted a show. And I was thinking, what would I do if I was going to reboot Ben 10? So like, that's a fun exercise. Be like, oh, what would you do if you were going to reboot your, like, the show that's had a bad reboot, or like, how would you redevelop something? And like, I'm definitely gonna like talk more about that in the future, because like, basically it's like, I would probably like age it up for like a new adult audience, but still be like PG-13 obviously, but like because like in every installment so far until like the hard reboot, Ben had got older. He kind of grew up with the audience, so I think it would be really nice to go back to that. So like, I would have like 20-something Ben, like the plumbers changed, they changed like management, and then someone was like, hey, who's this, like the grandson of the old boss? Like, why is he just running around wrecking everything? We need to kick him out. Take the plumber exam if you want to join. Why are you even here? And he'd be like, but I saved the world. So he would be like working in Mr. Smoothies, studying for the plumber's exam, hating life. I think that would be very relatable to a lot of people. So yeah, definitely gonna do more about that AU reboot in the future, because, you know, I love Ben 10. I have lots of feelings about it. Yeah, I started watching it really late. Like, lots of people my age like grew up with it, but like I didn't start watching it until I was in sixth form, which is like 16, 17 years old. And it was on, I think, like before school. So like, it was Ben 10 Omniverse, which is my favorite one. Come at me. I feel like that used to be a big issue when Omniverse was still going, like the people who didn't like Omniverse and the people who did like Omniverse, they were like, why do you like it? It's awful, it's ugly. And the people who did like it were like, why can't you like change? It's more stylish, and like the wonky art style really suits the vibe of the show. But now we've got the 2016 reboot, everyone's like, oh god, bring back Omniverse, it wasn't that bad. But yeah, like it's been with me a long time, you know, like that was 6 years ago. And like, I still can't bring myself to watch the last couple of episodes of Omniverse, because like then it will be over. I need to go and do that, and like I don't want to. Do you guys ever have that? Like, I still haven't watched the last episode of Hanakimi because I don't want it to finish. but also because I'm sure the ending will be super underwhelming, and like the last episode was really long and I kind of couldn't be bothered. But like, I love Hanakimi, the old 2006 J-drama version of it. I've not watched the K-drama version. But yeah, I feel like that speaks to some issues, doesn't it? But yeah, do you have any feelings about Ben 10? Let me know. Let's talk about feelings. Talk about Ben 10. Not to be a furry on main, but like I would absolutely date Brooke Blanco. Like, what's your Ben 10 crush? Let me know in the comments. Yeah, see you next week. Have a lovely time. Look after yourself. Bye.